Alright guys, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is Talking Sharp After Dark. I did tell you earlier, prior in my conversation of my last video on TikTok, that I was going to have a little mini open panel type situation at the round table in my house. So here, I'm at the round table in my house with my husband, my ride or die, my partner in crime, and my son, my ride or die part two, partner in crime. So we're here to discuss about the Cam Newton altercation that the world says he got jumped. And yeah, it did look like everybody jumped in. To me, it looked like an altercation because he handled his own. As an OG, he handled his own. What is he, about 36, 37 years old? He's an ex-NFL quarterback. I did a little bit of my homework. And he was phenomenal then. He's a shit talker then, and he's a shit talker now. But that's who he is. And he also wanted to give back to the community and help other young people to become, football players or whatever sport that they're in. And he created this whole organization, and I guess he must have hired quite a few people and got some coaches and everything, which is all a great deal. But along with that, he's expecting some wins. And according to what I've been researching, it's been quite a few, not wins. Is that the nice way of saying it? So we're going to just have a discussion here because I too am into football because of my son. So I'm a mom of a football player. And my husband is a dad of a football player, which he too was a football player in his time, and in his area where he lived, he was a star there. So he have a great perspective. I have a great perspective from a parent point of view, and then my son can chime in as a young football player and what it feels like when he's supposed to be respecting his coaches, and he also got to listen to his parents, and how he feels that maybe things should go with this communication, and when people are upset, we should not be taking it to the fist. Because at the end of the day, it's our young folks who's growing up to be our future watching us. I think we have a generational gap going on here. So that's what I'm going to start it off with, and we can just all jump in, and I'm going to ask my husband, did he get to see the video? And according to him seeing the video, what did you think? What was your outtake? What were your thoughts from that?
Well, with the video, I really didn't understand why they jumped on Cam Newton, and Cam Newton was just defending himself. That's what it looked like. And I know later, seeing an interview of it was a younger brother of Cam Newton supposed to be jumping on his brother. That's when he got into it. But it was explained by him that the reason why they had an issue was Cam Newton was getting into them, talking junk about them. That's what he said, and they got tired of it. He did indicate that they had relationships as far as coaching for 5 years with him. Correct. He explained that Cam Newton had an organization, and he hired these guys. So the past 2 years, they got on them. I guess it was because of loose. I don't know exactly what it was, but they could not handle it.
Right. Cam Newton was being held responsible.
They pretty much got offended.
Yeah, they got offended. I could honestly agree with you. They did get offended, according to what they were saying on TYT 105.3. I think that's what I was watching. And they were saying they did apologize on the air because that should not have happened in front of family and kids. They did do that. But as you could tell, like they was already frustrated because Cam Newton, I guess, is the type of person that tell it like it is from the heart. And I can understand and relate that when I'm thinking of you when you're very passionate, and you're old school just well as like Cam. So you're very passionate when it comes to football. So when you're talking about what should and should not be done, it may come out harsh to the younger generation, even though they are coaches over these young kids that's trying to learn to play the sport. Being passionate, what I'm learning when I'm going back to that generational gap, these younger generations, and you help me to say what the generations are, because I can't remember verbatim of what steps from baby boom.
Baby boomers, silent generation, S generation, Gen generation, and every generation got different characters.
Got different characteristics.
Right.
So this generation that we're dealing with now is
basically they like to give their input. They like to express how they feel. They like respect. They like for you to give them respect.
Right.
You know, the problem is they don't give respect. You know, our generation, which is the X generation, it was all about respect.
Right.
Okay. Our parents can let us know what's going on, and even if we feel like totally don't agree with that, they're our elders. We have to give them respect.
Right.
Okay.
And the younger generation don't believe in that.
The younger generation,
and they don't think that's called respect.
Right.
Okay.
So their input about this here, if they're not giving me respect, I'm not gonna give them respect, but they're already disrespecting us.
Right.
Okay. Cam Newton, he's from a little older generation.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I think he's from like the Y generation. But they still, I had a daughter from the Y generation. Okay. They still gave respect.
Right.
Okay. So this is the thing. They're not really giving respect. And they feel like, okay, he's being too hard on them, because our generation was like, especially sports.
Well, speak about that, about sports. How is it in the football world when it's time to really talk direct?
If you're not producing, okay, and you're not doing what we say do, okay, it's an issue going on. We need to work on this. Okay, so if you're not producing, yeah, it's gonna be a little junk talking. Okay, you're not doing this here. Hey, you're on a level like not being good. Let's see what we can do to improve yourself. Okay. Now I'm saying it in a nice way.
You're saying it today in a nice way.
Right.
But that's normally when you in the motion of football. How are you sounding?
In the motion of football, it's like when you fucking up, I'm saying, what the fuck are you doing? Yo, this is not the way I trained you. Yo, could you not back up and do the same thing again that you did the last play? What are you thinking about? Okay, these are the type of things that we're seeing.
Right.
And especially when it comes to training. Let's go back to training.
Okay, let's go back to training. Because that's why the losses are coming out.
Let's go back to training. Now,
Okay.
when it's in the summertime, yo, it's heated. Okay, it's drills need to be done.
Right.
Okay, running need to be done. Yo, of course we need to give you some water, whatever. Get yourself together. But yo, it's about training, and improving each and every day. If you're not improving each and every day, something's wrong.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna call you a bitch here and there. We're gonna call you like, hey, yo, what's up with this here? We're gonna be down your throat.
Okay.
They can't receive that, so it's gonna be a shutdown.
Because they take that as a form of disrespect, the younger generation.
Well, they get shutting down. If they call it disrespect or whatever, they're shutting down. They can't receive that. They're weak. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it said in the Bible. You know, each generation is getting wiser and weaker. That's in the Bible. So this is what we're seeing.
I have trained a lot of players. In the weight room and doing cardio.
Okay.
You know, doing PT.
Yeah, speak up.
So I've trained a lot of players. Okay. So it's like what I see, it's like they're not getting it. It's like they're kind of weak when it comes to training. But when
Why do you think they weak when it comes to training? And we talking about the young coaches, because now we're getting a lot of young coaches, especially for these high schools and middle schools, that are training these young folks that's growing up so they can make it to college. But they are very, to me, I also see it as passive.
It's about motivation. What I'm finding out now, it's about like you gotta motivate them. You gotta let them know what they're doing good at. You know, hey, you're doing pretty good with your speed. You know, you're doing good here. You're doing good there. Yo, and you remember your plays here. You remember the plays there, and then you gotta let them know later on. It's like, yo, this is what you need to work on. This is what I'm finding out. Now they are more receptive when you hear that line of communication. You know.
But if they're on the field, by the time they get to play the game and they still lose, something is wrong with this pitcher. Because I think also in the training, because in the training itself, young generation is doing things different than what you guys, older generation, was
they're
doing.
softer. That's what it is. So they're like they're already soft. So the coaches feel like, hey, I need to communicate with them this way, okay? And they're not getting it totally. Okay. They're not like, okay. They're not really finding out, or like they're not putting pressure on them enough because they feel like they need to be communicated with this way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of being like hard on them from the fucking jump.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You be hard on them from the damn jump.
You'll wean out.
You wean out the fucking goddamn wean.
Okay, so stop right there for a minute. Let me chime in with my son. Being that you are a player and you're in the locker room and you get to see these coaches, and how are they starting off? And do you think it would be good to start off from the beginning? Because it'll knock out the time wasted on the ones that just thinking this is for play, or they just want to have fun. Speak up.
From the beginning.
What do you think the coaches should be doing from the beginning? When, like now,
from the beginning, all coaches, just like what our coach always tells us. Our coach tells us, if you got dreams of playing on a Division I level at a high college, you got to wake up, eat, sleep, use the bathroom. You gotta live football if you plan on doing that on the next level. The second thing he always tells us is, your coaches, you can be cool with them, but they not like that tight to you, because coaches get fired almost like every single time when they don't get the job done, because they gotta feed their family by the end of the day.
Okay.
So the same coach that bring you in could be the same coach that get fired, and now you got this new coach coming in. He don't care about none of y'all. The only thing he care about is the paycheck. So he just need players that just need to get it done. If you ain't get it done, you just gonna get cut.
Okay.
So that's just how it starts off. Like, he just go ahead and let us know from the jump. So he said, so what I'm finna do to y'all and how I'm gonna talk to y'all and the stuff I'm gonna be doing, don't take it as no harsh feelings. Take it, understand what I'm saying, and make improvements. No extra talking.
Do you think that's being harsh enough to wean out the weak? Because what Myron is saying is a tad bit different.
Yeah, I mean, telling kids like that, and they don't think they can do it, then they just go ahead and leave. But the ones that want to go ahead and do it, they want to be successful. They just go ahead and get through it.
So when you say, Myron,
it's like survival of the fittest.
When you say, Myron, about they need to go hardcore, what is your analogy?
Not your hardcore. I have a strategy for them to do.
A strategy, okay.
Right. I have a game plan as far as during the preseason.
The microphone gotta hear you, babe.
As far as the preseason, they have to they have a session to do here, a session to do here, and a session to do here. Okay. They have to complete those sessions. They can't not complete those sessions and throw up after the third session. You know what I'm saying? They have to complete this session all around. Then they got to go to the next session.
Okay.
And then it's like, my thing is they're not really completing everything because they're tired, and they're not coming back the next day. You know what I'm saying?
I guess we can stop right there for a minute. Have you identified with anything like that? Where most people don't come back the next day because they couldn't handle it? Because then it would go back on the parents. Then, am I correct?
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm still in high school, even though I'm graduating. From what I see, is kids, they come out there and try it, and it depends on how strong they are mentally. Then it will depend on if they stay through it or if they can't. We had several players that was out there in the heated moments of times when we was out there practicing while we was getting punishment, and they really sat back and they thought about it and they took off their equipment, then left and went home. They never came back.
So if you continue to have too many not enough players, that will probably make the coaches have to taper down some just to get bodies.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, for like, it's kind of different for high school. For high school, you bring everybody in, then you break it down everybody. So whoever falls off, they just fall off. You just keep building. They keep building. You try to motivate them, but motivation can only get you so far without discipline. Discipline is 10 times better than motivation, because discipline, you can be sick and you still training. You can be hurt. You still doing something.
Right.
It's just a habit that's just nonstop.
Like you have to have the love for it.
Yeah.
And I want to go with me and my son here. Right. I think we can give the truth of where we was at.
Okay.
Right. So
tell the story.
So Taji, when we first got here, right, and when I started training you, and I was hard on you, and I didn't know I was hard on you. I thought I was just doing what I was supposed to be doing because it's what I learned, right? And you was like, you wasn't feeling me, you know what I'm saying? And you wasn't like, you wasn't ready to get back out there on the field the next day, you know? Tell me how you felt about that. You know what I'm saying? Was I like too hard on you, or did I talk too much junk? I don't remember all that, because I'm pretty sure I talked a lot of junk shit.
Yeah, you did.
You know what I'm saying? And I was hardcore, but I was like, I thought I was natural doing it. You know what I'm saying?
So do you think that's what Cam Newton is probably thinking? He's being natural in that same instance?
I think that,
and because that could be the generation gap.
I think that Cam is being natural. I think like y'all embarrassing me, y'all not winning, right? And you letting them know, like, yo, y'all representing me. If it wasn't for me, y'all wouldn't be here. So he had to express them, let them know, yo, if it wasn't for me, y'all would not be here. Let's get this going.
Right.
Not for sure what he said to them, but
I'm pretty sure it was kind of harsh.
It wasn't that good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So what do you think, Tajee, according to what Myron was just asking you? Do you think that he was harsh at that point, and maybe because it was you weren't not yet there to receive, or because you also is in that generation, because you're part of that generation as well? But I think he's above. He's in that generation, but he is above.
No, he's above. I'm just talking about that period where he was at a younger age. You know what I'm saying?
Where he's still learning.
Where he was still learning.
Because we forced him in football. You do understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was still at that age. He was learning, and he was like, the communication was like, hey, we're not vibing here. You know what I'm saying? We're not
so what
vibing.
was going through your mind then? Listen to the coach, and then coming home, listen to your family. Honestly, because this type of conversation will help others, coaches, parents, students, and investors that want to sponsor programs like that. What do you think?
I mean, shoot, I don't know. It's a different time frame. I ain't know the stuff that I know now from what I know back then.
Right.
Back then, the only thing I know is I had time on my hands.
Okay. That's a good.
I just had time on my hands. I ain't know the stuff that I know now. I ain't know that if I would have passed all my classes during COVID and came out with a 3.5 and higher, that I don't got to pay to get in no school. I ain't really know that. I was hearing people saying that, but I ain't really took it serious because COVID happened. You get real lazy. I ain't know that these kids that's going to Division Ones fresh out of high school are not kids that just started working out. They're kids that been working out ever since they was back in elementary until now. I ain't know that. I started in the 8th grade. You think an 8th grade gonna be good? That ain't enough.
Right.
You got to start back in 6th. I ain't know that.
It's good information.
And it was just.
So the things that Myron was saying to you, and you wasn't receiving it, how was you feeling about it? And you could be honest.
I don't know. That's the crazy thing about it. It was just 2 different time periods. Like now, it's like now, okay, yeah, I need to go ahead and get better now. Back then, it just wasn't making sense. It just wasn't making sense.
So if it wasn't making sense to a student, a young student, and all you doing is being passionate in you gotta take this as serious and you gotta love football and da-da-da-da. He don't hear that because he ain't there. And there's some kids that can be there but still not there when it comes to the books, because you gotta be, smart with your books as well as being well in your football.
Well, what I found out that
Yes,
what I found out that he wasn't ready for that type of teaching, right? And not even ready for it. Like this wasn't his time of that type of teaching I was trying to give to him. We're from like way 2 different generations, like 2 generations down, 2 or 3 generations down, and he just wasn't receiving it. I thought it was good for him, but it wasn't good for him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to start communicating with him more. Matter of fact, you talked to me about that, about communicating with him more. Like, Myron, you just can't beat him up. He's not from that generation. And you kept like, hey, you got to communicate with him this way. I weren't hearing it for a while. I wasn't hearing it for a while.
Right.
Then, when I started communicating with him that way, he was more receptive, and I had to get used to that because I'm from the X generation. I had to get used to that.
Right.
And it was a process. Okay. It was a process, but it was worth it. It was worth me being able to communicate with him on that level. That level of meaning, let me explain to you.
Okay.
Of like, hey, let me let him know what he's doing good. Let me give him some positive things that he need to work on. Then I have some positive affirmation of like, hey, talk about yourself like this, about like that. Look at yourself in the mirror and say that you're great. That, doing great affirmations like that. And then later on down the road, I can get tougher on him.
Right, because he can receive it better.
He can receive it better because he feel more confident within himself. And
he can feel that you care and not that you just lashing.
Yeah, also that
which is a major factor.
Right.
Because I'm thinking, from watching the small snippet of the Cam Newton, that Cam Newton may not even go back, because so far these coaches have spoke on their take of what they believe would happen, and Cam Newton have not said anything thus far. So he could be in that realm of, bump that. When you start putting your hands in it, it goes bad at this point. And he is the owner, CEO, I do believe, over this organization that he created, to help people, so young folks can get an opportunity to learn the art of playing football.
Right.
So I can see where it can get very frustrating, even as for a mom over a player and listening to the coaches, and then I'm listening to my husband, and then if you're in one ear saying they should be doing this, that, and the other, and then we go to the game, we see them lose again, and I'm like, well, maybe he's right. Well, why the coaches don't see that? And then the coaches are saying, man, what happened to you? I told you to do X, Y, Z, but when it was training, what are y'all really training? And are you being passive to these young students because they not receptive? Or the parent may come in and say, I don't appreciate the way that you talk to my child. So that is my end goal. I'm thinking we should look for something and hoping that others will want to communicate about this to help people to communicate better, because there's a generational gap. And we as old school might need to taper down a little bit so that the younger school can receive what's being said and get the gist of it, because at the end of the day, it got to be a love for it. Right?
Right.
If you want to be in a sport, you got to have the love for it, first and foremost. And some kids get into it just because their mom make them. It's just something to do. Or to get out the house, or not to be in a gang. You know, all those factors. And not, this is the love that I have for it.
Right.
So I'm wondering if you guys out there have any comments and you would like to, say your piece in it and give your thoughts. I will read every last one of them to see if they got a better intake, and we can come back and we can shoot this again. And I will answer all the questions. I think this was a pretty good dialogue between a parent of a player itself, and a coach and an ex-player. I think you guys have we have three good attributes of comments and thoughts and theories of what we think would happen. So can we agree, do you think that this particular organization will diminish, or do you think that they will keep going and just try to reconcile? Because that's what I'm hoping, that they will reconcile some kind of way.
Yeah, I think they're gonna reconcile.
What do you think, Ty?
I'm gonna be on the real. I'm sorry. Hopefully they'll reconcile.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think Cam Newton not responding back at all. They put their hands on him. They can disagree with him. That he can give respect for them to give their opinion.
You gotta speak up, baby.
He get a respect for them to give them their opinion. Right, but when they put their hands on him, I don't know he's gonna come back from that. I'm just gonna say.
What do you think, Ty?
I don't even know. I don't know. It's just heated situation. But if I was Cam Newton, I wouldn't go back. I'll stop if I was him. Because too many coaches out here getting killed nowadays. And because the parents just don't understand that their child is not performing at the level that they can't even see their child at, but the coach can. And they just go off on the coach because the coach pushing them and getting on them to a point where the coach can see them where they can be at. And it ends up the parents killing the coaches. And it's getting too crazy nowadays.
Okay, well, I hope, and I hear you both, I hope that they can find a way to reconcile. It will be interesting if they do. It would not surprise me if he would diminish it all because the hands went across. That means the respect is out the window. How do you come back from that? Unless he's going to fire those coaches. And then who wants to come behind that? Right?
Yeah.
So I wish them all. Cam Newton, if you get this, get to see this video, this is just a happy family over here that's also football lovers. And this is our thought, our theory, our way of thinking. And maybe you can use some of the things that we said in this as tips and how to move forward. Anybody else that's watching, Please don't forget, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let's grow this channel because that's what I need. And we will talk to you again soon. This is Talking Sharp After Dark. Mwah.